Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Fitri Fauzi and my student ID is 33230023 and I'm from class 335A07. And today I will presentation my project 1 Morpho-Phonology. So in this part we have two main parts, the presentation parts and the case study parts. In this presentation I will talk about morphemes, how they work, and show several examples and theories that explain them. So let's begin. The part 1 is presentation on free and bound morpheme. First, what is a morpheme? A morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning in a language. It can be a single word or just a part of word that carries meaning. Every word we use in daily life is made of one or more morpheme. Now, there are two main parts of morpheme, a free morpheme and then bound morpheme. First, I will explain about free morpheme. A free morpheme is a morpheme that can stand alone as a complete word. It does not need to attach to anything else, so it can stand alone and still have meaning. On the other hand, the bound morpheme is a morpheme that cannot stand alone. It must be attached to free morpheme or another bound morpheme to form a word. These include prefixes and suffixes. So, example of free morpheme. Let's take a closer look at some example of free morpheme. Words like cat, run, happy, friend, and play can all stand alone and carry meaning. You can make sentences using them easily. This example helps us understand that free morpheme forms the core or base of many words we use in English. An example of bound morpheme. The first one is un. It's a prefix that means not, like unhappy. And the second is re, a prefix that means again, like rewrite or rerun. And the third is ed. It's a suffix that shows the past tense, like played or walked. And then the fourth is lie, or li, a suffix that turns adjective into adverb, like friendly. And the last is s, a suffix that shows plural or possession, like in cats. So basically, the free morpheme, it can stand alone, but the bound morpheme always need a partner. So that's the end for the part 1, and then we move to the part 2, which is the case study section. Here we will analyze sentence and words to see how morpheme actually work in real example. The sentence for the case study 1 is, I unlike going to crowded place, but my friend likes them. So the task 1 is identify all morpheme in the sentence. So we have morpheme I, un, like, go, in, to, crowd, ed, place, as, but, my friend, like, as, them. And the task 2 is classify each as a bound or free morpheme. So if we break it down, we can find both free and bound morpheme here. The free morpheme is I, like, go, to, crowd, place, but, my friend, like, them. So that's the free morpheme. And the bound morpheme is un, in, ed, as, and s. So the task 3 is how the prefix un and the suffix s modify meaning and grammatical function. So the prefix un, it's changed the meaning of like to its opposite, making unlike mean not like. And the suffix s in likes show the third person singular present tense, changing the verb to agree with the subject friend. So small change like adding un or s completely change how a word works in a sentence. And then the task 4 is support explanation using morphological theories. According to Steven Pinker to his book Words and Rules, The Ingredients of Language, 1999, morpheme like un are bound and change meaning through derivational process, while s is an inflectional suffix for agreement. And the second theory is according to Roselle Lieber in her book Introducing Morphology 2010. An is a derivational prefix that creates antonym, and s an inflectional suffix for verb conjugation, showing how morphology builds word and grammar. So both linguistics agree that these small parts, prefix and suffixes, play a huge role in how words function in English. That's the end of the case study 1. So for this example, we can see clearly how morpheme can either stand alone or need attached to other, and how they can change meaning or grammar depending on their type. So we move to the case study 2. We have words. Number 1 is management. The second is talking. The third is hope and hopeful. The fourth is play and played. So the task one is identify which morpheme are inflectional and which are derivational. So management is derivational because it changed verb to nouns, and talking is inflectional because it show continuous tense. And hopeful is derivational because it changed noun to adjective, and play it's inflectional because it show the past tense. So in short, derivational morpheme create new words or meanings, while the inflectional morpheme only change the grammatical information. And the task 2 is explain the difference in meaning, grammatical function, and word class change. So derivational morpheme change word class or meaning. When a word changes because of a derivational morpheme, it usually changes either its word class or meaning. So for example, manage is a verb, but when we add man, it becomes management, which is a noun. Or hope is a verb. When we add full, it becomes hopeful, an adjective. This change create a new word. So derivational morpheme are very productive to building vocabulary. But inflectional morpheme are different. They do not create a new words, but they only modify existing words to fit grammatical rules. For example, talking, it's only change the tense, not the meaning. And played, it's only tell us the action happened in the past. And then task 3 is show the derivational sequence using tree structure. So for example, management, the word management, it starts for the root manage, which is a verb, and then we add the suffix man, and the word becomes a noun, management. And then the other example is talking, the root is talk, it's a verb, and then we add ing, which is a suffix, so it becomes a word, talking, it's a verb. And then the other example is hopeful. We start with the noun hope, and then we add the suffix full, it becomes adjective, hopeful. Same, and the last is played. We start with the verb play, and then we add suffix ed, so it's played, so it becomes verb, played. And the task 4 is justify the explanation with morphological principle from two authoritative sources. So the first one is according to Andrew Carster McCarthy in his book An Introduction to English Morphology, Words and Their Structure, 2002. Derivational affixes change word class and meaning, while inflectional ones only add grammatical info. And the second is according to Laurie Bauer in his book English Word Formation, 1983. Derivational process like suffixion create new words with different category, unlike inflection, which modify existing word for syntax. And then we move to the case study 3. We have sent a student claims that when is the past tense of go because of the ed rule. And the task 1 is analyze why when cannot be explained through regular morphological rules. So when is the past tense of go, but it does not follow the regular ed rule. Instead, when it's a completely different word from, not built from a suffix, it's actually an irregular verb, so it means doesn't follow the normal rule of adding ed. And the task 2 is define suppletion and identify at least 2 other example in English. So what is suppletion? The suppletion is when a word changes it from completely for grammatical reason like tense, instead of using regular affixes. So it's not formed by using affixes, instead the whole word is replaced. So example, go to when, good to better, be to was. So in suppletion, the form of the word doesn't look similar at all, but the meaning and the function are still connected in our minds. And the task 3, how suppletive forms are represented in mental lexicon according to morphological theory. In the mental lexicon, suppletive forms are stored as separate entries linked by rules, not as regular derivation. This means the brain remembers go and when as paired but irregular, but they are still linked by grammatical rules. So that means we don't create when by adding ed to go, because our brain is already knows that when is the past tense of go. So basically our mind memorized them as a pair, different forms but same meaning relation. And the task 4 is provide theoretical evidence from linguistic literature. So according to David Crystal in his book The Cambridge Encyclopedia of the English Language 2003, suppletions show how language has irregular forms stored in the lexicon as part of historical linguistics where words evolve unpredictably. So we move to the case study 4. Now we have expression in a student essay. Number 1 is greenhouse effect, number 2 is blackboard, number 3 is smartphone, and number 4 is pickpocket. The task 1 is decompose each word into its constituent morphemes. So greenhouse effect. Green is adjective, house is a noun, and effect is a noun. Second is blackboard. Black is adjective, and board is a noun. And smartphone. Smart is adjective, phone is a noun. And the last is pickpocket. Pick is verb, and pocket is a noun. The task 2 is identify whether it's compound in endocentric or exocentric. So greenhouse effect is endocentric. The whole means a type of effects with greenhouse as modifier, and the blackboard is endocentric because it means a type of board, and smartphone is endocentric, means a type of phone, and pickpocket is exocentric because it does not mean a type of pocket or pick. It means a thief or someone who picked the pocket. So when the compound meaning refers to its head, it's endocentric, but if it doesn't, it's exocentric. And task 3 is discuss how meaning emerges from the compound. Does the meaning depend on head or modifier? So in endocentric compounds, meaning comes from the headboard. In blackboard is the main part, modified by black. In exocentric, it's not literal, because pickpockets mean someone who picks pocket, not a pocket itself. And the task 4 discuss how stress pattern affects compound interpretation. Example, blackboard versus blackboard. So stress on the first word, like blackboard, makes it compound noun, one word meaning, and stress on the second, blackboard, make it two words, like a black subject, the board. If you say blackboard, it means the compound noun, like in the classroom object. But if you say blackboard, it means a board that is black in color, like it's two separate words. And then the task 5, use at least 2 theoretical perspectives to explain your reasoning. So from a structuralist perspective, like Ferdinand de Saussure it is in course in General Linguistics 1916, compounds are signs combining meanings with stress showing unity. From a generative perspective, like Noam Chomsky in Synthetic Structure 1957, compounds are formed by rules and stress indicates if it's single lexical item or phrase. So both perspectives that show the structure and sound play important roles in how we understand the compound. And now the last is case study 5. We have the word unbelievableness. So let's break it down step by step. The task 1 is identify and classify each morpheme. It's bound morpheme, its derivational prefix, and believe is a free morpheme, it's a verb, and the able is bound morpheme, its derivational suffix, and nus is bound morpheme, derivational suffix. And the task 2 illustrate the morphological tree diagram showing the order of affixation. First, the root believe from the base, then able attached to it, so believable, it becomes adjective, and next we add unbelievable, it's adjective with negative meaning, and finally we add ness, unbelievableness, it's a noun. So every layer of affixation adds a new meaning or changes the word class. This is show how derivational morphology works in sequence. And task 3 discuss how both derivational and inflection process interact to create the final word. In unbelievableness, only derivational process are used. Negates the verb. Able turn it into adjective meaning, able to be believed. And ness turn it into a noun meaning, the quality of being unbelievable. And there are no inflectional process here as the word doesn't add tense, number, or agreement. So the task 4 is support your explanation using at least 2 morphological theories. So in the case study 5, I use the same theory in the case study 1. So it's according to Steven Pinker in his book Word and Rules, the Ingredients of Language 1999. Derivational affixes like able, and ness build new word by changing meaning and class without inflectional changes. And the second is according to Rochelle Lieber in her book Introducing Morphology 2010, derivational morphology creates complex words through layering affixes, as seen in unbelievableness, where each step shift the word category. So, unbelievableness is a perfect example of how morphology works in states to create complex meaning. And the last thing is bibliography. So the first bibliography is Bowder, Lowry, English Word Formation, Cambridge University Press, 1983, and Carter, McCarthy, and Drew, An Introduction to English Morphology, Words and Their Structure, Edinburgh University Press, 2002, and Chomsky, No, Synthetic Structure, Moulton, 1957, and then Crystal David, The Cambridge Encyclopedia of the English Language, Cambridge University Press, 2003, Lieber, Rochelle, Introducing Morphology, Cambridge University Press, 2010, Pinker, Stephen, Words and Rules, The Ingredient of Language, HarperCollins, 1999, and the last is Saussure Ferdinandi, Course in General Linguistics, edited by Charles Bally and Alberts Chehai Mikrow, Hill, 1916. So that's all about my presentation for Project 1 Morpho-Phonology. If I have a mistake, I'm so sorry for that, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.